Hi, everybody. Dr. Carolyn here today. I'm going to be talking to you about how body movement can help heal binge eating and food addiction. So let's get started. First of all, I just want to reference how hard it is for most of us to move our bodies without thinking about it as being part of a diet regimen. So either we're punishing ourselves with exercise because we've eaten too much, or we're exercising like crazy because we're on the latest fad diet. So I want to just start by talking a little bit about one of my former patients. Carol was a bubbly 30-year-old woman from a large Italian family. As a child, Carol loved to play soccer, but at age 11, at the end of soccer season, her coach took her aside and told her that she was not going to be able to be part of the team next year because of her size. She was crushed and surprised because she really considered herself to be an athlete. She loved soccer. She also rode her bike everywhere and enjoyed most athletic activities. But when she had joined the anchor program, she did well in all aspects of the program, but seemed unable to really get started on a body movement program. When asked about negative experiences around exercise, she remembered what happened when she was 11 years old, and the coach told her she couldn't play soccer. After that conversation, she had begun to believe that she could not be athletic because of her size. And so she just stopped being active at all. But after working through some of the feelings from this traumatic experience, Carol was able to start just opening the door to being more physically active again, something that she found she still loved. So as I said, physical activity has been co-opted by the diet industry, just as food has. In other words, used only in the service of trying to get your weight down. No wonder just thinking about exercise can send people into a fit of resistance and make you feel guilty, either because you think you're not doing enough exercise or you're not doing the right kind of exercise that the experts, quote unquote, have told you will help you lose weight. So just as I encourage all of the people that I worked with to question the conventional wisdom about food or weight that says you have to be thin to be healthy, or that some foods are bad foods and you should only eat quote unquote good foods or only eat clean, as we talked about recently in the Food Freedom Challenge. I'm encouraging you now to turn your inner skeptic towards the field of exercise or physical activity and all its attendant expert advice. You see, I'm using a lot of air quotes today. Now, you may be lucky enough that you already enjoy exercise and you see it as a normal part of your day-to-day life. To you, I say, keep up the good work. But if you have food and body image issues, you may struggle with physical activity. To you, I say, don't throw out the baby with the bathwater. And what I mean by that is don't let the voices of your former coaches or parents or other family members or acquaintances or people you meet in the street or anyone else who robbed you of the joy of being in motion. Don't let them take away the pleasure inherent in moving your body. Don't let the voices of experts, again in air quotes, who told you that you'll only lose weight by doing certain exercises stay in your head. Kick out of your mind anyone who told you, as Carol was told, that you couldn't do a sport or an activity because of your size. Just as you can learn to eat with joy, you can reclaim your right to move your body with joy. Just think about little children. If you have any little children, or if you are an auntie to some small children, moving your body is natural when you're a child. For example, babies are in motion all the time, kicking their legs up, touching their feet with their hands, rolling over, standing up, etc. Toddlers start to stand up. Eventually, they let go of the coffee table or the couch, and then they try to walk and run as soon as they are able. And every time they fall, they get up again. Why? Because this desire to move your body is hardwired in our genes. And of course, moving your body is good for you. When we talk about health at every size, just being in motion, just having some form of physical activity, not that you have to do, but that you enjoy doing, contributes to your overall health and well-being. But the bottom line is there's only one should that you need to pay attention to, and that is to find an activity that you love to do, that you enjoy doing, not forcing yourself to do something because you think it's the best way to lose weight or it's something that someone told you you should be doing. So find a starting point where you can find something you love and just stay open and curious. Try new things. You know, when I was in my late 40s, I think, my youngest son convinced me to try Taekwondo. I never, ever thought I would like a martial arts, but I ended up loving it. And I think I've mentioned in previous podcasts, humble bragging that I got a black belt in Taekwondo. So I won't go over that again. But if I hadn't been curious and given it a try, I never would have learned how much I enjoyed it. Now, there are a lot of people who say, I can't exercise because, and there's fill in the blank. So I want to go through some of those reasons that people give for not being active. One is, I feel embarrassed by my size and I don't want to exercise in public. Well, this is a very valid concern and one that you can address in multiple ways. For example, take a friend with you to a class or do a one-on-one class to get yourself started so that you can feel more comfortable doing the activity. The second reason that's often given is I have health problems, and every time I exercise, I have pain or injuries or other symptoms. Now, this can be a real problem, especially as we get older. But if your motivation is strong, and you are experiencing some unpleasant symptoms, I would recommend that you seek the help of a physical therapist or a personal trainer who's used to working with people with some body limitations. Another reason that's given is I just get bored so easily. And yeah, I've said that myself. And I have to say, for example, I always found running boring, even though I have a son who has run marathons multiple times. And I just couldn't figure out, like, what is it about marathons that you find interesting? But however, as time goes on, I again stayed curious. And during the pandemic, when I wasn't able to go to the gym, I ended up buying a treadmill. And lo and behold, I figured out a way to pair doing something I wanted to do with something I kind of wanted to do. Like I kind of wanted to be on the treadmill. But what I did was I took my iPad out to the treadmill and I watched Netflix shows while I was walking on the treadmill. So that kept me from getting bored. So if you're finding yourself bored, pair your exercise with something that you really want to do. The final reason given is I don't have time. Well, in my experience, time is really never the issue. Just think about all the things you fit into your day. And you have to ask yourself, what priority do you give physical activity? And could you move it higher up the list of priority so that you can maybe schedule some time for even just a 10-minute walk at lunchtime? There are also a lot of emotional blocks to exercise. If you're still not feeling motivated to exercise or to be active, you're right to, you may be like Carol in that you've had some exercise-related trauma or embarrassment or some experiences in the past that have turned you off of exercise. Now, in Carol's case, she never really linked what happened with her coach, her soccer coach at age 11, with her dislike of exercise as an adult. But as I said, moving your body is a natural part of what it means to be human. When you feel resistance to something that is natural, like body movement, you might want to ask yourself when that started. When did you start, rebelling against moving your body? When was the first time that that happened? And that may lead you to be able to discover some exercise related trauma that you haven't maybe thought about in a long, long time. Another thing to think about is that moving your body in a mindful way, particularly if it involves conscious breathing, like Tai Chi or yoga or Qigong, will enable you to be less uncomfortable in your body. It can actually help you connect to your body. And there are even yoga classes for people who've had trauma. It's called trauma-informed yoga classes that can help you heal from trauma through the practice of yoga. Now, I hope you'll remember that moving your body is not something you have to do. So don't go all Marine drill sergeant on me. Just think about something you would love to do and tap into that inner feeling that draws you to a form of moving your body. It may not make sense to you, just as being interested in Taekwondo didn't make sense to me. But your body knows what it wants better than you do, for sure, better than our intellect or our mind does. And this is another way to tap into body wisdom, which we talked about in the 5 steps to recovery. Follow your feeling, stay open, and stay curious. Remember, this is your body, and how you move is your decision. So I have a couple of homework questions for you that might help you go a little deeper with focusing on body movement and how it can help you heal from binge eating and food addiction. So the first question, I advise that you journal about these. The first question is, see if you can imagine the feeling of being in movement when you were a child and describe that feeling. For example, I felt so free when I was running through the grass in my bare feet. The second question is, ask yourself what made moving your body feel the way you described as a child. For example, it just felt so freeing to do what I was doing. No one had to tell me I was doing it right or wrong. I was happy because I was doing what I wanted and loved to do. And then finally, question number 3, list 3 things you can do to reclaim your body's desire to move. And if you're ready and willing, the act of actually doing or trying some physical activity will help you begin to heal emotional blocks to moving your body. So I hope this has been helpful. And I want to just remind you to share this with anyone who you think might benefit from it. Also, give us a rating and help us share this message. I want to remind you also that the free book offer is still going on for a little longer. You can get it if you're living in the United States. You can get a hard copy of the Food Addiction Recovery Workbook. If you live overseas, you can get the ebook of the Food Addiction Recovery Workbook. And there is a shipping charge for the hard copy, and there's a handling charge for the ebook. But I will pay for the book. You pay for the shipping or handling. And don't forget, the Anchor program is in full force. We have a new program starting very soon. And if you're interested, schedule a free consult to discuss your own individual food and body image issues. Okay, this is Dr. Carolyn signing off. See you next time. And we have a couple of interesting topics coming up next time. The next one will be how to repair and heal your relationship with your body. And then I do also have an interview with registered dietitian and expert in internal family systems, Betsy Thurston, coming up. So look for both of those, and I will talk to you soon.